There comes a moment in every life when everything you believed in begins to fall apart. The job disappears. The people you trusted walk away. The dreams you spent years building collapse in a single moment. And suddenly, you feel broken. You question yourself. You question your purpose. You even question if getting back up is worth the pain. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Life doesn't break you to destroy you. Life breaks you to rebuild you stronger than before. Because the strongest people you admire today were not born strong. They were forged in moments when life hit them the hardest, when everything was gone, when hope felt distant, when quitting looked easier than continuing. Those were the moments that created them. So, if life is breaking you right now, if the pressure feels unbearable, if you feel like you're standing in the middle of the storm with no way out, listen carefully, because this moment, this painful, uncomfortable, overwhelming moment might be the exact moment that your true strength is being born. Most men don't realize their real strength begins the moment they feel like they're breaking. Society teaches men to be providers, protectors, and problem solvers, yet life eventually delivers a moment where none of those roles feel possible. The job disappears, the plan collapses, the pressure builds quietly in the chest. In that moment, a man doesn't just feel pain, he feels like he has failed the very identity he was taught to live up to. What many men don't understand is that this breaking point is not proof of weakness, it is proof of pressure. And pressure only appears where something valuable is being formed. When a man reaches that point where he feels stripped of certainty, something deeper begins to surface. Clarity about what truly matters, who he really is, and what he is capable of becoming when comfort is no longer an option. Women often see this moment differently than men imagine. While many men believe they must appear unshakable, most women don't look for perfection. They look for resilience. They respect the man who faces the storm, absorbs the hit, and still chooses to stand up again. Because strength, in its truest form, isn't the absence of struggle. It's the willingness to continue carrying responsibility even when life has taken everything familiar away. Most men grow up believing pain is something to avoid. From a young age, they are taught to chase stability, security, and comfort. A stable job, a predictable routine, a life where nothing shakes too hard. But the strange truth about a man's life is that comfort slowly weakens the very instincts that make him strong. When everything becomes easy, urgency fades, discipline softens, and the fire that once pushed him forward begins to dim. Pain, on the other hand, does something entirely different to a man's mind. Pain forces awareness. It forces growth. It forces him to confront the gap between the man he is and the man he needs to become. When life breaks a plan, ends a relationship, or strips away certainty, it pushes him into a place where excuses stop working and responsibility becomes unavoidable. Women often sense this shift in ways men overlook. While comfort can make a man predictable and passive, adversity reveals depth, focus, and determination. It shows whether he retreats from pressure or transforms under it. The moments that challenge him the most often reveal the qualities that quietly earn respect: discipline, accountability, and the ability to carry weight when circumstances are far from easy. Some men experience moments in life where it feels like everything is testing them at once. The pressure builds from every direction: career setbacks, financial weight, expectations from family, silent battles no one else can. See, it begins to feel personal, as if life has singled them out. But what often feels like punishment is actually a process. The men who are meant to rise rarely live comfortable stories, because growth rarely happens in comfort. Pressure forces a man to confront who he really is when nothing goes according to plan. It strips away the easy identity and exposes the deeper character underneath. In these moments, a man either withdraws from responsibility or leans into it. The world does not test a man to break him. It tests him to reveal whether he is capable of carrying more than he thought possible. Women often recognize this transformation long before men fully understand it themselves. While a man may feel like he is falling behind during these trials, many women see something else developing: resilience, focus, emotional control under stress. The ability to stand in chaos and keep moving forward quietly signals strength. These difficult seasons often reveal the qualities that define the men who eventually lead, protect, and build something meaningful. Rock bottom is the moment many men fear the most because it feels like the complete collapse of everything they believed defined them. The career that gave them identity disappears, the plans they built their future on fail, and the image they tried to maintain in front of the world suddenly cracks. For many men, this moment feels like the end of their value, because society often measures a man by what he provides and how firmly he appears in control. What most men discover, often much later, is that rock bottom has a strange clarity to it. When everything comfortable is stripped away, the noise disappears. The distractions fade. What remains is the raw truth about what matters and what doesn't. In that space, a man begins rebuilding, not from ego or expectation, but from a deeper understanding of responsibility, discipline, and purpose. Women often see this rebuilding process in ways men underestimate. While a man may feel embarrassed by the fall, many women respect the man who takes ownership of his situation and starts again. They notice the effort, the persistence, the refusal to stay down. Because when a man rebuilds from rock bottom, he is no longer building on pride or illusion, but on lessons carved out of struggle and accountability. Every man eventually walks through a storm that feels like it might never end. The pressure comes from every direction: expectations, failures, responsibilities, and the silent fear of not being enough. In those moments, time seems to slow down. The weight of uncertainty sits heavily on his shoulders, and the future feels unclear. Many men believe the storm itself is the problem, when in reality the storm is the environment where transformation quietly begins. Adversity forces a man to confront parts of himself that comfort never reveals. When everything is easy, character stays hidden beneath routine. But when life breaks the routine, a man begins to see who he truly is under pressure. He discovers whether he runs from difficulty or learns to carry it. The storm demands patience, discipline, and emotional control, qualities that only develop when circumstances refuse to cooperate. Women often observe this transformation from a different perspective than men expect. While a man may feel embarrassed by his struggle, many women respect the man who continues to move forward despite uncertainty. They notice the resilience, the responsibility, and the quiet determination that appears when a man refuses to collapse under pressure. Strength, from their perspective, is not perfection, but endurance. The storm eventually passes, but the person shaped during those difficult moments remains. The patience learned during hardship, the discipline formed through struggle, and the perspective gained from loss begin to define the man long after the chaos fades. What once felt like destruction slowly reveals itself as the process that forged a deeper level of character and inner stability. There comes a moment in a man's life when quitting feels easier than continuing. The pressure has built for so long that exhaustion replaces motivation. Plans have fallen apart, efforts feel unnoticed, and the path forward seems uncertain. In that moment, a man stands at a quiet crossroads where no one else can make the decision for him. The choice is simple but heavy: step back and accept defeat, or move forward despite the pain. What many men don't realize is that transformation rarely begins with confidence. It begins with refusal. Refusal to stay down. Refusal to let circumstances decide who they will become. When a man chooses to keep moving while everything inside him is tired, something fundamental begins to change. His mindset shifts from seeking comfort to accepting responsibility. He stops waiting for the perfect conditions and starts building strength in imperfect ones. Struggle reshapes the psychology of a man in ways success alone never could. Each challenge forces him to develop patience, discipline, and emotional control. These are not qualities that appear overnight. They are built through repeated moments where quitting would have been easier. Every time he stands back up, he teaches himself that he can carry more than he once believed possible. Women often perceive this process with a different lens than men expect. While many men think they must appear flawless to earn respect, what often earns deeper respect is resilience. A man who refuses to quit communicates something powerful without saying a word. He shows that pressure does not erase his commitment to growth, responsibility, and progress. Transformation begins quietly in these moments of persistence. It grows when a man continues forward without applause, without guarantees, and without certainty about the outcome. Each step taken under pressure reshapes his confidence, his discipline, and the way he sees himself. Over time, the man who once doubted his strength begins to recognize a new identity forming through the simple act of refusing to quit.